Previously on Kerbal Space Program. We now return you to your flight in progress. Looking for our shadow, so we can tell where we're landing. I probably should have landed closer to the day-night terminator, would have given me a better shadow to use. As is, our shadow's going to be pretty much straight below us, because it's pretty much midday on this part of the moon. Side of my shadow. Getting a little nervous. The ground looks like it's coming up awfully quick. Meters per second. Almost completely vertical now. 15 meters per second. There's our shadow. Yeah, again, we're coming down straight on top of the shadow, so it's pretty much noon in this part of the moon. 7 meters per second. Keeping it right about 7 seems to be good. Down to 6 meters per second. Just a few meters off the surface now. 5. And touchdown. I think that was a good landing. Everything appears intact. I think we pulled that one off. Right, let's get a crew report. We have a really boring crew report from the moon's east crater is where we have landed. Let's go ahead and run some more science experiments. Let's extend the magnetometer. Open the Mary Poppins bag. That's ridiculous that that fits in there, but I guess it's like some sort of long spring. Keep that, retract it. Observe the mystery goo from the surface of the moon. Seems to be less dense here, surprisingly. Materials bay. Fine dust of the moon has intermixed with some of the samples. You have a sneaking suspicion that they'll never be able to get the lab clean again. And then, of course, our power cell running just fine. You can see that kind of in here. No reason to actually open that hatch, but, you know, might as well, right? Let's, where's our thermometer? Where'd I bolt that onto this thing? There it is. No? Yeah, that's it. Review data? Oh, space near the moon. Reset. Don't need that one. Log temperature here. 19.2 science, and we collected temperature from the environment. Let's get ready for our historic first moonwalk on the Kerbal moon. So let's make sure we've got an EVA report from here. Looks good. Stow that. And whoop, 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 whoop. That was our one small step moment right there, falling off of the top of the lander. graceful Hudball. He looks just so excited to be out of the lander there. He's brought two snacks, or he's brought a snack with him. As you can see in his inventory. That's just in case he gets hungry. He'll be just fine. Leaving the lander for a little while. Let's see, what should we go explore? Let's go see what's on this rock over here. That was graceful. Safe! Yeah, he's fine. All in a day's work for a Kerbal. This does look impressive, doesn't it? Let's get our surface sample from here. Sample contains a combination of breccia and melted materials. EA report. Start to say something dramatic and poignant about the plight of Kerbal kind in this grand universe, only to be cut off by a random radio chatter that the situation is nominal. This is a good spot for our flag. Any profound words from the chat that you'd like on the first plaque on the moon in this one? Let's call this, What did they call where the Apollo 11 landed? That was Tranquility Basin, right? I think. Something like that. So we'll call this Tepid Puddle. We came in peace for all stream kind. Let's take a look at our nice new plaque. Yep, that looks good. Let's get a nice picture here with... Where's the lander? Gotta make sure we have the lander in the background. Back to our lander here. Get our equipment stowed. If I had landed closer to the edge of the crater, I probably could have gotten a second biome here by just leaving the crater, but we'll save that for a future visit since we have a... No, don't run into it! That was smooth. That was just... That was impressive. Luckily, we did not knock the lander over. Okay. That was a, the ever-graceful Hudbald Kerman. So, make sure we can see on our lander here. Alright, so we need to... Whoops. Step over here, get the thermometer data. The science lab data. The goo data. And that data. Don't break, don't break. I've lost an entire mission before because a Kerbal falling over on top of the lander broke the entire thing. Right, let's close the hatch on the fuel cell. Magnetometer's just fine. Let's close the goo bay doors. How? And close the science bay doors. How? Right, it looks like we're actually going to have more than enough fuel to just get this whole thing back up into orbit on its own. Though I'd really love to know how you, is it, that? That doesn't seem to have done anything. Yeah, I've got no clue how this decoupler works. so I guess we won't be using it. Let's go ahead and transfer all... Oh, we already used all that fuel. Well, that's good to know. Glad we didn't need it, but yeah, whatever. Let's wait for our service module to pass, our command module to pass back overhead, and then we will launch and meet up with them. Just piping or something. Try some legs. And that's probably already got us too high. What order is he in? 20. 90. I'm going to for 12 so far. So this is our target. Wow, this might actually be a really close, close intercept here. Hold on. Yeah, that's sweet. That's gonna do the trick nicely, I think. To get back in orbit, let's go ahead and do that now. That seems like it was highly efficient. We're just going to let these two drift closer, cancel out the remaining relative velocity, and then bring the command module over and dock. Because this doesn't have RCS rockets on it, so we don't want to risk bumping into the command module with this one. We do want this one to match velocities with the command module so that we know it's in orbit before we switch over. Yeah, 19 by 21. Perfect. Let's switch to the command module. Let's actually switch back and rotate this around to point due north, just so we know where we need to be oriented to dock properly. So let's just see if we can't dock from this point of view. Inside the cabin! Alright, this should be a pretty good dock, I believe. 8 meters. Slowing down ever so slightly. 7 meters. And I think we just docked. Yeah, it looks like there's another ship attached to our nose. Let's pop out of the cockpit and take a look. Yep, that was a perfect docking maneuver. That worked out pretty well. So, instrument flying there in orbit. Yep, looks good. So we're going to go ahead and undock from the lander. Since everyone is aboard, we will leave this here, potentially for use on a future mission. Wave goodbye to the bold ship lander. But we will have to bring more fuel for it when we come back, because I stole all the fuel for the for this thing. Firing our engine at T-minus 7 seconds. 2, 1. Yep, that's gonna do just nicely. Hopefully that will bring us into a nice stable orbit. So we need data from space around Kerbal. Let's go ahead and, while we're up here, let's observe the goo. Ah, no, I want the magnetometer. There we go. Toggle magnetometer. Get that thing out. Do some experiments. I don't have an antenna to transmit it, so we're going to just bring that back in. Send someone on EVA to grab it. Find that goo can while we're out here too. There it is. And descend back into there. Alright, so now we just have to try and get into orbit, and then we can test our engine for the purposes of another contract, make a ton of money when we get back onto the ground. Hopefully. We shall see. So that one's done, that one's done, that one's done, that one's done. Just have to survive re-entry to get those. And then this one is the one we still need to do. The other one is Explore Duna, which is not happening on this mission, I'm afraid. Nowhere near enough fuel for that. Alright, so let's go ahead and break into the atmosphere and see what this aerobraking maneuver does for us. Oh, there we go. We are back out of the atmosphere, so we're just going to need to trim our orbit up a little bit from here. Okay, we're looking for this to go green, and then I have to hit the test button here. Watching our altitude numbers tick down at the top. Three, two, 1, 0. Green. Test. Contract complete. Nothing else matters. So if the parachutes aren't enough to slow down the service module, we're going to have to possibly start using some of the fuel we have on board. Of course, we come down over land, we might just use that fuel and try and set this thing down gently. We don't have landing legs, but we can always just try and balance on this tiny little engine bell. That'd be pretty crazy lucky if we happen to hit this little speck of land down here. Don't think we're going to. That would, I think we're going to hit this ocean beyond it. Yeah, nothing but ocean after this island. So, definitely going to be a splashdown. Still using our attitude control thrusters to try and keep this thing in a stable heads down and engine forwards configuration to put all the stresses of re-entry on these very sturdy rocket engine instead of the more fragile parts of the spacecraft. If we had a heat shield, we'd have that pointed down, but there's no heat shields in this game just yet. Probably not going to be. I doubt deadly re-entry is something they're terribly worried about recreating. There's mods for that, of course. But I'm already playing on hard mode. I don't really think I want it to be much harder. As you can tell, we've only got one orange suit Kerbal, so we've had our share of accidents already. Alright, descending below 25 kilometers, still experiencing re-entry effects here. Still ballistic. I'm not using the engine yet. That is a big, big ocean with a very repetitive surface texture. Shh, no one's looking. One kilometer engine. Cutting engine, chutes deployed. And we are going to be settling down at 13 meters per second, 13 and a half, which is enough to break the engine, I believe. So we might fire the engine to try and cushion our landing a bit before we touch down. There we are. Definitely going to survive this one, though. I'm very happy about this mission. Could have gone significantly worse. 100 meters. Just about to touch the water here. So, only the 2 fuel tanks broke. Everything else is fine. Engine survived. The science module in the middle survived. Just the cream filling is gone. Alright, that's going to do it for this particular flight in Kerbal Space Program. Thank you so much for watching. We have landed safely back on Kerbin. Everything taken care of, doing a little last-minute science there, so I'm fast-forwarding through this part for you. Little disappointed that everything broke when we hit the water, but all things considered, still turned out just fine. Lots and lots of science there. Over 800 science, you can see. And wait till you see how much money we've got. 300-some thousand funds. So, gonna be able to do some very fun things in future launches. So, hope to see you there. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.